Hey everyone, my name is Alexandra and I'm a watercolor artist. Today we are starting a new series called Painting with One Color. I am going to teach you guys through this series how to paint monochromatic, and this is just to help you guys learn how to paint shadows and light sources and to really learn how to study your object, so then you can go forward painting with multiple colors, but you guys will have those tools and skills with you. So for today's tutorial, we are going to be painting a very simple vase that I have here. If there's anything else that you guys want me to do in future for this series, make sure to leave a comment below and let me know. Let's get started. For supplies today, you guys will need 2 cups of water. I have one for clean, one for dirty, a napkin for drying your paintbrush. I have a pencil just so that we can draw out our shape to start. Paintbrushes, I'm using Princeton's numbers 2, 6, and 8. And lastly, for paint, I'm using Art Philosophy and Co.'s Decadent Pies palette. I'm using the navy color. Because we're just painting with one color, you guys can truly pick any color that you want and go with that. So the first thing that I'm going to get you guys to do, which is especially important when you're learning to paint and draw and try to get objects looking more realistic, is draw out your object. So we are going to draw out the vase here, and I have a photo for reference for you guys. But to get our nice vase shape, I'm going to start with my pencil. I want to do really light lines, and I'm going to draw sort of an oval at the bottom of my page. So this is going to get the base. Towards the bottom, it's going to come a little bit more straight, and then we'll curve it as it goes up. And now when I'm looking at the top of it, I can see that it curves up. So I want to do kind of 2 little C curve lines towards the top. And then from where I'm looking, I can see a little bit inside of it. So I'm going to draw another oval showing where the inside is. And then I have my shapes coming, my lines coming up and around. Again, feel free to play with this. If you guys want to do this with your own object, then go ahead. Now for my handles, we're gonna go ahead and add them to the side. So they sort of come around, curve in, and then they come out to follow my vase. So I'll do them on both sides, trying to get them as similar as I can. If they look slightly different, that is okay. And then coming from my curve inside, we're just gonna finish this off. And we'll add our little circle for the handles here. Okay, so now that I have this all drawn out, I'm just gonna even out my lines a bit. I'll make them a bit darker for you guys to see, but if you are doing this yourselves, then I would challenge you to try to draw as light as you can with your pencil, just because we want it to not show through with the watercolor. So now that I've drawn this out, I'm actually gonna go back in with my eraser and try to make it as light as I can. But that being said, as we're going in with the paint, you guys are gonna be able to see more and more of what I'm doing here. So just because I don't want to smudge any of the pencil lines, I'm actually going to take my napkin to wipe off the eraser marks. Okay, and we're good to go. So the biggest thing that we want to look at is where our light source is coming from and where the shadows are. So based on how my painting is right now and where my vase is, I have most of the shadows on the left side here. So going in, I'm going to rinse my paintbrush in my clean water, and I'm actually just going to fully paint in the base of my vase. And then we're gonna go in and add some color. So I'm getting it nice and saturated, but I'm making sure that if I was to lift my paper up, the water would not be dripping. And I'm going to leave the handles for now, but otherwise I will paint the rest of this in. And now that I've done that, I'm gonna go into my navy paint, and I want it nice and watered down to start. And we're just gonna start on this left side here where I can see more of the shadows, and I'm gonna paint it in really light. And now if I'm looking at the vase, I can see that the shadows do sort of come across the center part a little bit more, so I can add that in. Now the challenge with painting with one color is when you're using the colors that you see on the item, it's a lot easier to just paint in the full thing. This is going to really challenge you guys to focus on where you see your light coming from. So I'm sort of carrying this color across, but not all the way to the left side, just because that is where I can see most of my light coming in. And if I'm looking at my item itself, it doesn't actually go too dark. So I don't want to make this right side too dark. So now I'm gonna switch to my number 6 brush, and we're just gonna get this inside top part here. Same exact thing. I'm filling it with water, and then we're gonna go in with this wet on wet technique. One tip that I will give you guys if you are doing more paintings like this is to take a photo of the object that you're painting and just change it in your photo settings to black and white. And you'll find that this will really help you see where the shadows and things are. So I'm looking now at the center, and I can see that there's shadows. It's the darkest right near the base here. And then if I take just simply a wet paintbrush, I can kind of blend out this color. And then at the same time, if I'm looking at it, it's also the darkest right near the top of the opening here. So I'll just carry this color along, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing and go in with my clean brush. Now once it dries, we might add a little bit more detail, but we sort of get the idea. Now continuing on where I see my shadows, if I'm looking at the arms of the vase, I can definitely see that it's darker just on the inside of them. So we'll add those in right away. And they come down, attaching to our vase. So a little bit less on the left side here, but I do still want to add some of that in where I see it. And now I can just fill in the rest here with my lighter blue. And we'll add more into that in a little bit. So this one here, I see some of the shading. And then the very edge is the lightest, but I do want to show where the edge of it is. So I'm going to go in with very watered down color. And we're just going to fade it out. And then the same idea with around the top. I can see a little bit of the shadows. So we'll go through. Okay, so this gives us a really good base for our painting. So now we're going to go in and start adding some details, and it will really just bring it to life. So I'm mixing darker blue, still watering it down a decent amount here. And I can start by going in and adding some of my lines coming across with sort of this watered down paint. So starting from the bottom, so this is something that I don't do all the time, but I definitely challenge you to give a try just because it's really going to help when you're painting just with your regular painting to kind of know how things look. So I'm actually just going to jump to the top here and get these really nice rounded half circles around the neck of this here. And I don't need to be overly precise with this because we're really just working on figuring out where our shadows are. I don't mind if these ones are a bit thicker towards the top here just because I can see that it is definitely a little bit darker. And then I might actually switch to my smaller brush. So one of the things you guys will notice that I'm doing is I'm having some of my lines sort of fade out towards the left side here, just because of where the light is coming from. And again, I'm not too worried about being too precise with this. Our main thing is to figure out where our shadows are. All right, so now that I have that painted in, back with my big brush going into my clean water, what I'm actually going to do is on this right side, I'm just going to blend in what I've painted and just sort of fade it out. And then coming back over here, we're going to go a little bit darker. I'm going to contrast this even a little bit more than we might see in the photo, just so that you guys can really see what's happening here. So I can fade that out into my right side. And then I can really see this shadow right around the top here. So I'm going to add that in. So I'm just painting over with my darker paint and then going back in with my water. I can fade it out. I'll just add some more line details. If we do it while it's still wet, it'll give it that nice faded look. All right, so now coming back to the rim of my painting, I can go into my darker blue. And again, I'm going to be more dramatic in this than the vase that you see. So anything that I see that's kind of that brown gray color, we're going to go in with a lot more of this navy color. So we want to just go around this rim here. And then I can really see the dark blue around our base there. And now same idea with the shadows on the handles. I just want to add some definition here. It's not too dark, so we'll still go with this lighter blue coming in and around. And now I'm just continuing to compare with my reference, and anywhere that I see more shadows, then I want to go in and really just bring those out. All right, so I think that's just about it for details that I'm gonna add. The last thing that you guys can do if you want is add some of the shading just to the base here so that we can really make it stand out. So same thing, going in with that navy. I'll make this one a little bit darker, and along the bottom, I'm gonna add in that color. Do it the darkest right along where the vase is, and then coming around this side here. Now if I wet my brush, we'll just bring some of the shadow out. So even if I start from kind of further out and bring the water in, it's going to allow for the paint to sort of just blend into the water that I've added. And we're going to want to pull it out a little bit more of that round shape. All right, and that should be good for the shadowing there at the bottom. And that is all that we have for painting our vase with one color. I hope that that was helpful to you guys. Also a bit of a challenge just figuring out where exactly to stick your colors. Again, if there's something specific that you guys want me to do this with that you would find helpful and good practice, then leave a comment below and let me know. Otherwise, comment and let me know, did you find this challenging? Did you find it easy? What did you think? Lastly, if you haven't already, make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel. We'll see you next time.